One of the most important lessons every dropshipper needs to learn to get to 100K a month is realizing that your product doesn't matter. Your media buying strategy doesn't matter. Hell, even most of your website doesn't matter. Because if you truly want to scale to 1 grand a day, the thing that is preventing you from doing that right now is because your ad creatives suck. And the biggest problem is nobody's really teaching you how to make good creatives. So in this video, I'm going to teach you everything you need to do to get past the beginners that are throwing up creatives, spraying and praying, which you might be doing right now to try to get a winning ad, to actually knowing step by step how to research an audience, how to come up with your own ad angles, and how to dominate anyone who is currently scaling the same product as you, because that is what you need to know in order to actually scale, because you're always going to have competition. The product is not a competitive advantage for you. The way you market it is. And the biggest problem I see is that most beginners have zero foundation and understanding of how marketing really works. And marketing is really, to me, an over obsession on the messaging and understanding who you're talking to. It's understanding who is your avatar, what is their desires, what's the stage of awareness they have to your product. Do they know that they have the problem? Do they know the different solutions out there? Are they so aware that they know all the different products that specifically solve it? So maybe you sell a knee brace. Like, people are looking for specifically a knee brace, but why your knee brace? There's a lot of questions you need to understand and answer before you ever make an ad. And that's the problem. You don't do any of that. You just skip into, here's a product. Oh, here's some ads. Let me just run them. You spray and pray. You have zero strategy or thought behind why you're even testing the ads that you are. You're just doing it simply because, oh, it worked for somebody else. I'm just going to copy what worked. But why should someone buy from your store when they already have seen that same messaging and ads from someone else who's already scaling it and already has momentum and is going to have more social proof than you? Absolutely no reason at all. So what you need to do when you pick a product is understand who is my target audience, because the best marketers are the ones that make the most money in this game. They're the ones who try to put themselves in the shoes of their customer better than everyone else. And by the time you get to the ad portion of making creatives for the product you're testing, you should feel like you know every single little detail about this product, why it works, why people are buying it, the desires, the transformations, everything. That is how deep you need to go. And whoever goes the deepest, pause, is usually the one that's going to win. For instance, I saw these athletic shoes the other day. And most beginner dropshippers marketing these athletic shoes would say, oh, these are great for running, these are great for hiking, it's great for all these different things. And that sounds great in theory, but the problem lies in the fact that everyone is marketing that product that way. You're not special. Your messaging isn't really breaking any barriers here. So because you think you are doing the main benefits, but they're really just the vanilla generic ones that everyone else has done, the product ends up flopping, even though the product could have been a winner. But let's say, for instance, you did some digging and you realized there was a large portion of people in reviews on Reddit, in the TikTok comments, that said, oh my gosh, this would be perfect when I'm playing pickleball. And then that way you could have been more specific and then had your ads tailor-made to people specifically who play pickleball, because the way you talk to and the way your messaging will speak to that audience of pickleball players is going to be completely different than if you're trying to just appeal to all athletes. You can't have this similar language. You can't even have the similar visuals. But the more specific, the more relatable your copy is, your messaging specifically, the more trust you're going to build and the more likely someone's going to buy from you. Because this game, if you want to really know the equation to how to get people to buy after watching your ad, it's all about trust. And how you build trust is realizing that first, images or videos, the format that you try, doesn't matter. I've seen people scale brands to $1 million a month using only image ads. I've seen people scale to $1 million a month using only video ads. The format doesn't matter. But what you should do when you specifically haven't had any results yet and haven't had a winning creative is get your ass studying. Study what's currently working on Callo data. Go on the app Foreplay, another pause. and save the best performing ads from the top brands. See what they're doing, notice the patterns, and then slowly but surely implement the tactics that you're learning from them into your ads. Try out their formats, try out their hooks, try out their visuals. See how specific their benefits are. See how juicy, see how strong those promises they make to their customer. Because whoever can make the greatest promises that are really specific and just speak to the core of that audience is going to be the one that wins. And the only way you can do that is you have to do the research. You have to go through page after page after page of reviews on Amazon, page after page, and read tons of comments on TikTok videos, on YouTube videos, on Reddit. The more digging you do, the more money you're going to make. And honestly, 80% of your problems in dropshipping can be solved just by making better creatives. You think the reason why you can't scale is, oh, my CPM's $100. Make better ads. No, I want to switch my ad account. My event quality scores to make better ads. My conversion rate on my website drop. Make better ads. Better ads will attract higher quality audience. Therefore, your website will have a higher conversion rate. Almost every single problem you have right now in dropshipping when it comes to finding a winning product and scaling, it comes down to your creatives just not being good enough. Now, I'll get into a few more tactical things, but just to give you a few examples, I recently saw this ad for a fat burner product, a product that helps you lose weight. And the dropshippers marketing this, you could tell they thought they were saying lines and messaging that would resonate, but it was so archaic that it was just as clear as day that they didn't really know what they were doing. They were just copying language that they thought sounded nice. And that's a huge issue. A lot of you write benefits that you think sound nice and sound like the right things, but it's really not. It's too generic. If you use the word ergonomic or game changer in your ads, you should frankly quit dropshipping and start flipping burgers at McDonald's. That's how passionate I feel about using those keywords, because nobody has ever said, I bought this product because it's ergonomic. No one cares. I've never even heard that word until I got into marketing. It just doesn't exist. But for this fat burner product, the marketer had the headline, the hook of, lose love handles in 30 days. Lose your love handles. And when I did my own research on the product and read reviews and gone through comment sections, not one single female had ever wrote, this is what helped me with my love handles. In fact, I don't even know if women nowadays even talk about their hips as love handles anymore. Maybe in the 80s or 90s, but in marketing, we just have these certain words we say over and over again because we see other people doing it, therefore we think it's good or it's the right thing to do. And you have to get your head out of your ass and stop copying other people. The majority of other people that are selling your product don't know what they're doing. You are following the blind here, my friend. You are jumping off a bridge just because everyone else is. You cannot be a follower. When people zig, you need to zag. So instead of lose love handles in 30 days, which nobody says anymore, the smarter thing to do, and what I saw from my research, is that in a comment section, one of the best hooks I saw in this comment, this person said, guys, I literally used to not want to sit cross-legged around my man because my belly looked so disgusting. The specificity of that, how it's just, you have to be in the mind of your customer. You have to really feel like you're in their skin to come up with something that's that relatable. And because if my target audience hears that hook compared to lose love handles in 30 days, which ad are they going to watch the rest of? The one they personally relate to the most. And the more specific you can be, the more relatable. And you can do it through humor, through specificity, through a benefit, through a desire, through a problem they're dealing with. The more relatable you can say that, the more trust you're going to build, and the more often that person is going to buy from your store compared to someone else selling the same exact product. Now, one more example before we get into the other tips. I saw, for instance, knee braces. A lot of you are going to try to sell massagers and problem-solving health products, and that's perfectly fine, but you have to realize that's hella saturated. Bruh. And if you want to get your guap up this year and get that bag, lil homie, you're going to have to find a way to market it and be more specific than everyone else, because people marketing that knee massager are just going to say, here's the benefits of using this knee massager. It's going to help you reduce inflammation. It's going to help you with arthritis. It's going to help you with blank. And sure, those are all, it sounds great. It's very flowery. It looks good. But will it actually work? No, because it's not specific enough and detailed enough to a specific target audience. You're trying to appeal to everyone. It's not going to work. It's a lot like when I see a good looking website, like a website that looks good. Again, it seems like it should have a higher conversion rate the more you put into your design, but more often than not, the ugly websites are what convert and make the most money. So if you're optimizing for making the most money, you shouldn't be putting your time into making your website look great and have all those amazing color schemes and, oh, wow, look at these animations from each section. That shit doesn't make you money. In fact, in most cases, it loses you money. Same thing with your ads. You're saying all this copy that sounds great, but you haven't done the research. You are not your target audience. You are not someone that half-asses your research, which you're currently doing. All of you right now are half-assing it. You don't really know why people buy your product. Otherwise, you would have created a winning ad already by now that spoke to your audience enough and related to them enough to get them to buy. It's as simple as that. So if I'm selling a knee brace, I need to read the reviews, do my research, and come up with a specific customer avatar. This could be women that are 65 plus who have knee pain from playing tennis or aerobics or pickleball again. I know I'm doing a lot of pickleball examples, but the more specific I can be, then the more relatable my messaging can be. Because in the hook, I could call out that specific target audience. In the benefits, I can make sure it's specific towards their pain points rather than someone else's. Because I could market a knee massager to young athletes who need help with their knees. Maybe they just recently had an ACL surgery and they're looking for something to stabilize their knee and help them with their recovery. The way I would market that product to them compared to 65 plus year old tennis players, women specifically, is going to be completely different. So you can't appeal to everyone and just say, okay, here's this knee massager. Here are the ads that have worked for this knee massager. Let me just rip them. Because even though those ads worked in the past, they're most likely not going to work for you and they're too broad. They're not specific enough. They're not relatable enough. You can't win with the product you choose. You win with the niching down, with picking that persona you want to market to, with picking those benefits and figuring out how can I say the problem that, yes, everyone already knows they have, but how can I say it in a more relatable way? That is the thing you need to obsess over more than anything else, the messaging. The more you obsess over that, the more money you're going to make. And that's the difference between a beginner and a pro. Now, to give you one last example. I recently was on a call in my one-on-one program with a student. And a lot of times on these calls, I will review ad scripts. So he was selling a product, which was a salt block. If you don't know what that is, it's basically a product you use when you're cooking steaks, fish, etc. It's supposed to help make your food more delicious, juicier, etc. And in his script, he had a few lines where, and I'll just read out one of his scripts. So his hook was how my steaks went from this to this after buying this product. He literally just did this to this. And he was going to have a visual that showed, okay, a bad steak, and then here's a good steak. But when I read that, I'm like, dude, that is so broad. That is so generic. How can we be more specific? How about I transform my steaks from beginner level or from average to Michelin star level? That's a specific way to word it. Or how I turn my dry, lifeless steaks into juicy, whatever adjective steaks that my family can't get enough of. The more specific, the better. Because you need to know, there's a lot of people, everyone can make steaks, but what specific audience of people making steaks are you going to hit? Is it people that love cooking and want to get their cooking just a little bit better? Is it beginner chefs that don't really know how to make a steak? But with this will help speed up that process and make their steaks juicy every single time. Who are we trying to talk to? He didn't know. And he also didn't know really why people bought the product. Like when we get to the next line, he said, my steaks were always dry, hard to chew, and just blessed. So he just basically identified a problem. But we did some research and I found out when we read reviews, nobody was complaining about the problem of my steaks were dry and hard to chew. He made that up. And a lot of you guys are making shit up. The real problem when we read reviews was that people were complaining that their steaks just tasted average. They were cool with making steaks. Like, again, if your steaks are always hard to chew, you're just not going to make steaks. And we saw in a few reviews that people said that I would just not make steaks because it was too hard. Or that my steaks were just kind of average. And this took it up another notch to a new level. So that should have been the problem. If your steaks taste average and you don't really look forward to making them, this is that problem. That is the problem. How can we be more specific? And then in his benefits, he said, my steaks are now juicy and have a delicious crust that melts in my mouth. That's not a bad benefit. It's not bad. But I asked him, is that the main thing that you read in reviews? And when we read the reviews, a lot of people actually mentioned how they wanted to get more compliments on their cooking, and that's why they bought this product. So now that could be the thing of every family night, you will cook steaks that your family will absolutely love. They will be begging you to make steaks for them more often after you have this product because it's going to be so juicy. Obviously, that's long, but that's the real core desire they had. It wasn't to get juicier steaks. It was to get more validation from their family. And you only are going to learn those really specific benefits when you do the research and stop half-assing everything. Now, to get to a few more of my notes, what have I not covered so far? I mean, alone, if you apply those principles of obsessing over the messaging, getting more specific with your hooks, split testing what you're doing, because again, this is all hypothesis. You do your research and then you test out the hypothesis of what lines do you think are going to resonate. And you've got to give yourself chances. You've got to give yourself multiple shots. If you only give yourself one ad, if you make one ad where you test a product, that's like essentially, okay, imagine you have a 3-pointer. And if you make this 3-pointer, you change your life. You can get 10 grand a month. You can scale to 1 grand a day. And you only give yourself one shot compared to if you had 5 shots or 15 shots. When I make ads, when I test a product, I do 16 ads. I give myself 16 shots because I know the odds. Out of those 16, usually only 1 or 2 are going to actually work. But if you give yourself only one ad, one shot, the odds are you are never going to have a winning product. If you test 3 ads, the odds are you're never going to have a winning product. 5 even, not enough testing. So you do your research. So from top to down, study winning ads, know what formats work, hooks, get inspiration, scripts, etc. Then go out and do research on your audience for your product. Understand them really deep, their desires, the benefits, the problems, the transformations, the use cases they actually care about. Then pick out which ones you think are the most important. Cut the fat. Get into those hooks that start off with a few mentioning the problem to relate, and then a few that mention the main benefit to relate, to see what audience resonates with certain messaging and is the most profitable for you. Then with the benefits, you're going to split tests, saying different lines in different ways. You might say, yeah, my steaks are now juicier and the crust is blah, 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 blah. Or you might say, now my family is obsessed with my steaks and ask me to cook them all the time. Those are slightly different benefits for basically the same, it's slightly different wording of the same benefit in a lot of sense. But you got to be split testing this. Because the way you get purchases is through trust, through using the pain points, using the benefits that are so realistic and relatable that basically prove that you are part of the target market. You have to essentially blend in, and people should feel like you understand them. And if they don't, and the copy's too generic and it's too broad, it's too vanilla, and you're saying ergonomic and game changer to save some time, then buddy, oh boy, you are just wasting your time dropshipping because you are not good enough as a marketer. Now, when you first test a product, the reality is the first ad concepts will be basic. You're trying out things. You're going to be trying out problem solution, how to, all these different formats. And then once you find out, let's say I test 15 ads, where do we go from there? Because this is also a skill in itself. So let's say I test 15 ads. So let's say I have 5 frameworks, 3 ads in each, total 15. And out of those 15 ads, 2 worked. And they're both from the same framework. What do we do from there? Well, you start doubling down. You start studying those ads. Spend 5-10 minutes looking at them, noting down what did I do in that ad compared to every other ad? Was it different messaging? Was it a better hook? Is my benefits resonating with people more? Are my benefits? I know, proper English. I know, I can't speak. But notice the trends and then double down and try to think of a way to improve it. Your ads should be cyclical. It's improving. There's iterations. You have these, the first test should be the worst your ads ever look in terms of messaging, frameworks, all that stuff. But then with the data that you learn, you optimize, and it should go from, okay, this is ads 1.0 to ad 2.0 to ad 3.0 to ad 4.0. And the more you iterate, the more you improve, the better your ads are going to be, the more profitable they're going to be, and the more you're going to be able to scale. But it will start basic. And to keep everything in mind, you don't need to come up with these ideas even on your own. You don't need to come up with any of these hooks, these benefits, the call to actions on your own. All you have to do is just spend the time researching, and people will tell you what to say. You just reverse engineer. Whoever spends the most time researching before making ads is going to be the one that makes the best ads. And this is why I'm usually, and here's the thing, I love Noah Brewer. I love viral e-com ads and like how efficient they are of getting ads done. But for the most part, if you were just sending a viral e-com ad or just a random ad editor, here's the product, go make an ad, they're not marketers. They are video ad editors. It's a completely different skill. They don't know how to speak directly to the audience. And a lot of times their ads look good, but they don't perform because they haven't honed down on the messaging. The messaging is what matters, not the editing, not in a lot of cases even the visuals. It's the messaging. How specific and relatable can you be? So one final example before we end it today. I think the best marketers right now, the ones that are the most relatable, that you should take the most inspiration from at the moment, are people on TikTok Shop. So on Callow Data, you can study the best performing TikTok Shop ads, and all of them are so goddamn relatable. These people, the stories they'll tell, they know how to basically be their target audience, because in a lot of cases, they are their target audience. They know how to speak to people, and your ad should not feel like an ad. It should feel like a conversation with a friend. So for instance, I saw someone selling this pre-workout product. And most people selling a pre-workout product, if you're a normal noob dropshipper that's being someone that's watching videos from every other top dropshipper that doesn't really know how to market products and is teaching bullshit, you're going to say this pre-workout is going to help you get more energy at the gym and increase your strength by 25%. You're going to say something that's flowery like that. Doesn't that sound great? Get more energy. It's too fucking generic. What's a better way of saying get more energy? How about what this TikTok Shop creator did? I tried this pre-workout once, and suddenly an hour on the Stairmaster goes by in 10 minutes. Suddenly, I want to push myself again. I can never go back to the gym without this. Which is more relatable? Which do you think is going to make more sales? Get more energy at the gym. So I want you to really analyze your ads. The reason why you haven't had a winning product, my friend, is because your ads simply suck. And it's because your messaging sucks. So get to studying winning ads, be more relatable, be more human, stop using fucking ChatGPT to write your lines and half-assing things because you think efficiency is more important than quality. And then practice on writing lines that are as relatable and specific as you can make them to your target audience. And then you are going to start winning. Instead of saying, this serum helped me reduce my wrinkles, say, my son's teacher just asked him if I was his sister, because that's the true core desire people have. Why does it matter that I'm reducing my wrinkles? So that people mistake me as a 30-year-old when I'm in my 50s. That's the true core desire. Understand your audience. Let's do some ASMR. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you want help with your dropshipping store and scaling it to $1,000 a day, I do have a program that you can apply for down below where I review your ads and tell you that they're dog shit and tell you how to improve them. So if you want me as your personal guide and mentor for your website, your ads, your product selection, so you have the best chance to scale to $1,000 a day in the next 180 days so that you don't waste years of your time testing products and wasting money, apply down below. Or join my Discord for $99 a month where we also do calls and I review your ads and everything. So hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next video.